Hi, I'm Michelle Frechette. I am the head of customer success at GiveWP, where I get to work with nonprofit organizations all over the world. And I'm also the podcast host at WP Coffee Talk, where I talk to people in the WordPress community all over the world. My favorite thing about both of those positions is that I get to work with people. One of the things I think is very difficult during this time of isolation, shelter in place, quarantine, whatever words we're using to describe what we're experiencing right now collectively, is that it's easy to feel disconnected and it's easy to start to feel less human because we have fewer human connections, at least in-person connections. And one of the things that I think is really special about what I get to do is that every day I talk to people. And I know that's really hard for people who are freelancing or who are working remotely, who aren't interfacing with the public a lot. And that's something that's really difficult, especially during times like what we're experiencing. One of the things that I think is really super important to remember as we're going through uncharted territory, things that we haven't ever expected to experience before, is to remember that we're human. The human part of us, the human nature of us, is the part that really doesn't understand um, what we're experiencing. There's so much unknown about the future, what it's going to look like. There are companies that are pivoting in the meantime to be work-at-home companies, and that's something new for them. And there are some companies that have decided that after this, they're going to continue to be remote organizations. So I have friends that work at Twitter and they're used to working in an office and now they're working from home, and Twitter said you can continue to work from home forever. And that's something that's new to them and something that's a different experience. I work for a company that is also a distributed company, but I have an office here with 4 of my coworkers in the Rochester, New York area. And right now we're working from home and connecting online, and it's a different experience for us. And there are things that you have to do every single day to remain connected to that group. One thing we do, of course, is online meetings so that we can see each other's smiling faces. But even simple things like a direct message through Slack or Twitter, or a text message to one another, just to let them know that I'm thinking about them and that I miss working directly with them, but I want to continue to have those human relationships. In our business at GiveWP, we work with nonprofit organizations primarily. There are other organizations, of course, but by and large, I'm working with nonprofit organizations on a daily basis. And in the customer success area, we do get to talk to people. We do online meetings with them. We show them how to use the software. We give them demonstrations about how to use it. And so we are actually calling customers and FaceTiming customers or Skyping or whatever we're using, Zoom meetings, etc. And so one of the things that is exciting about that is that we get to continue to be human beings with one another. In our industry right now, in the nonprofit industry, nonprofits are struggling. They aren't being able to provide the services that they're used to providing. Dog shelters, for example, are offering to let you adopt a dog, but it's pretty much sight unseen. That's uncharted territory for them. To not be able to go in and meet with people and be able to interact face-to-face with people, it's not usual. And not to be able to provide the services that they're used to providing in a face-to-face manner. But the other thing that they're struggling with right now is that donations are down. By and large, for most nonprofit organizations, because of the uncertain times that we're living in, I think, people are managing their money in a much closer, tighter way. And that means that donations are down for nonprofit organizations. And so what we're trying to do at GiveWP as well is connect with those organizations and see if there's ways that we can provide solutions for them. And one of those ways is maybe discounting. And so we've discounted some of our plugins. We've discounted all of our plugins right now so that nonprofit organizations can spend a little less money to try to make more money through donations and what they do. And so as an agency that provides a service through WordPress, that's one of the things that we're able to do, is make it a little bit more affordable right now for nonprofits to be able to do that. We also are trying to provide solutions through blogs, through social media posts, etc., of ways that nonprofits can you can pivot and try to raise more money online since they are unable to do face-to-face events. As an organization, as an agency, as a freelancer, maybe that's something you can do too, is think outside of the box. Think about ways that you can provide good content to help your customers be able to think outside of what they normally do. I know we talk about the restaurant industry a lot right now, and how the restaurant industry has really had to pivot, since most restaurants are not able to provide dining room services right now, and everything is either delivery or pickup, and how that's changed the way that they provide services online, the ordering system, etc. But other organizations are experiencing similar situations. Maybe not as en masse, and maybe that's why we're not talking about them as much, but there are ways that you can provide ideas, you can provide solutions, and I'm not talking about not charging for your services, but I'm actually talking about maybe ways that you can pivot and ideas that you can provide for them. And even just through some blog posts and some ideas that you can put out there that can help your customers think outside the box and think of ways to continue to be profitable in these uncertain times. Surviving in the times that we're in right now is something that's a little uncharted as well. So, since the plague, when there was the plague, there was no social media, there was no social distancing in the way that we think about it right now. There was no Instacart to deliver your groceries. And so we're surviving in a different way than ever humanity has had to survive before. And one of the things that I think of on a daily basis is to remind myself that I'm human. I have days that are up days, and I have days that are down days. And some of those down days can be pretty down. And I try to remind myself that it's okay to experience the whole range of emotions that I'm experiencing right now. It's okay to feel down. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be happy. It seems almost inhuman to be happy sometimes when things feel dire, but it's okay to celebrate. We're celebrating things differently. My best friend graduated college after years of trying with 5 kids and losing her first husband and all kinds of things that were human challenges for her. And we couldn't celebrate in the way that we normally would. So we did a drive-by parade for her and had fun. We'll celebrate her in a different way in the future, but right now we had to think outside of the box and do things that we haven't done before. But it's okay to celebrate. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to hit those milestones and be happy about the things that we're doing, as much as it's okay to grieve, and it's okay to be sad as well. The most important thing is to just be true to yourself. You are allowed to experience the entire range of emotions that you have on a daily basis. I don't want to wallow in grief. I want to acknowledge my grief, move through my grief and into other happy places, and deal with the things that I have to deal with on a daily basis. Try not to be depressed, try not to have too much anxiety. Those are things I struggle with sometimes, and I'm moving through them. I'm doing what I need to do, and I hope that you can remind yourself that you're human and that you're allowed to have that whole range of emotions as well. Take a nap. If you can, walk away from work for an hour. My couch is behind me. I've never worked in my office before. Had my office be in my living room before. This is new territory for me. And on my lunch hour, I don't sit at my desk and eat. I go lay on the couch and do a Sudoku on my phone, or watch a Netflix channel, or take a nap, and that's okay. You can do things that make you survive through the day in a different way, and acknowledge that and work right through it. I know some of us are in situations where we're not even really supposed to leave our homes, and others of us, with our masks and things like that, we can go for walks. We can take a drive. One of the things I do is at least once a week, I take my camera, I get in my car, and I drive out in nature and I take pictures. And for me, that's something that's affirming. That's something that kind of breaks my monotony of being trapped at home, if you will, and gives me something to look forward to. And then I get to edit photos and I get to share them socially as well, and that's something that makes me happy. The other thing I'm trying to do is try something new. I'm 51 years old. I'd never done Legos before. I've ordered 3 different Lego sets. Amazon has delivered them exactly when they were supposed to. And over the course of a few weeks, I've built some different Lego sets and had a lot of fun doing that. But maybe you could try something new. Listen to a new podcast you've never listened to before. Start a blog. Maybe start your own podcast. Binge a Netflix show. Start or attend a online happy hour. Stay connected to other people. Learn a new skill. Maybe connect with old friends. Look people up on Facebook or Twitter or what other social media that you have, and just try to connect with people. It's really easy to be disconnected, especially if you're single and you live alone like I do. It'd be super easy to just feel so isolated and feel so alone. But there are so many ways that you can connect with other people right now, albeit not in person, but that's okay. It's still connecting with people and talking with people and sharing our experiences. Lastly, I just want to talk about the fact that it's really, really easy to blur the lines between work and home life. My work office right now is one end of my living room, but I'm trying really hard to keep it isolated to just this one little area, this desk, and not have, my work can carry over to my coffee table or take it into the bedroom at the end of the day and continue to work on things. Have those boundaries for yourself, whether it's physical boundaries, time boundaries, all of that. Make sure that you are not living in your workspace, but you're working in your living space. It's easy to have those blend, but don't let that happen. Remember that you're a human being. You are not a work machine. I'm sure that what you do well, but make sure that you are also honoring your own time, honoring your own needs, and your humanity. Remind yourself and recognize the fact that burnout can happen in a much different way right now than it would under normal circumstances, because we are living and working in a different way and not connected with other people. It's easy to say, well, I don't have anything else to do at the end of the day, so I'm just going to write one more blog post. I'm going to, do some more code and continue on past the hours that I normally would do that. Burnout happens in a different way when you're disconnected from your normal routine. So make sure you're honoring your own time. Make sure you're listening to your own internal voice, listening to what your body's telling you as far as setting those boundaries for yourself. And finally, invest in the tools that you need. I have gone back to the physical office and pillaged through there for my microphone, for my computer stand, for my big monitor, things that I didn't think I was going to need because I thought this was going to be a much more temporary situation than it's turned into. For a couple weeks, I could work off a laptop. For a couple of months, I needed more equipment. And so I've ordered and purchased equipment that I needed for home, and I've also gone back to the office and taken what I needed from there to have at home while I needed to do that. So make sure that you are, sitting in a space that makes your body not hurt. Be ergonomically correct. Make sure things are at the right height for your eyes, that you're not straining, and that you have sufficient lighting where you work and are able to do the things that you need to do. But remember that you're not alone. There are others here for you to help you with whatever it is that you need. You can reach out. My Twitter handle is @MichelleAmes on Twitter, and my DMs are always open, and I'm available to talk to people, and I'm available to be a resource for you and connect you to other resources if you need them, because you're not alone in this. You are maybe one individual sitting in your space, listening, watching, working, but you don't have to be alone in what you do. So remember that there are people out there. And lastly, if you are struggling at all with depression and anxiety or any other mental health issues, you are worth the investment of time and whatever it takes to get yourself out of that position. You can go to bigorangeheart.org. There are counselors available to help you with whatever you need to feel better about what's going on in your life. You are 100% worth it to seek the help that you need if you are struggling right now, or anytime. But right now, I know a lot of us are struggling more than is normal. So do what you need to be successful in the space that you have and to feel good about who you are doing it. Again, I want you to know you're not alone. There are lots of us here who are available to be reached out to and to make sure that you are okay and to help you be successful. I wish you the very best. I look forward to when we are able to meet in person once again. I hope to see you at a future conference or WordCamp. If you see me there, please come up and say hello. It's one of the favorite things I do is to connect with other humans. Right now, I'm doing that digitally and virtually, but in the future, again, I hope to see you face to face, whether we're hugging, whether we're shaking hands, whether we're just waving from a 6-foot distance. I'm looking forward to seeing you. Stay true to yourself, be happy, and be healthy. Take care.